Welcome everyone to the very first international episode of Drink While You Think. I am your host, your domestic host, Kenji, and he is the international host.
I'm your international host, Matthew.
Dude, we teased this in the last episode.
Yeah,
Where
I know, but
in the world are you? To the two people that watch.
To the two people that watch, I am in what our taxi driver called Paradise. So it is in St. Lucia. So a mere 4-hour flight from you, my friend. But you're transported into this beautiful world. I am coming to you live from Rodney Bay in St. Lucia. So
I'm just going to say, I think this is easily the most I've seen you smile on Drink While You Think in the whole segment, not alone just in the intro. This vibe seems to suit you.
Well, I've been working for the first few days. Today was our first day of vacation. So Laura was like, "Oh, you're on vacation now." So that's awesome. So
vacation, Matthew.
Pretty funny.
I can't wait to dig in on this episode about what in the world you and we are doing in St. Lucia. But you got to start first with tell me about the local drink. What are you consuming?
I am consuming Piton beer.
Piton beer, nice.
Okay, so it's Piton right there.
Okay, yeah, excellent.
And they have started branding them with the local district. So this is Castries is one of the local districts. I'm not in Castries. I'm in Gros Islet, or Gros Islet.
Gros Islet.
It's Grosislet. So I think it's called
sounds like a French kind of Caribbean pronunciation.
Yes, the language here is the official language is English, but there's a French dialect here that's predominant. So
man, that is so. How's that beer? It looks like a very Caribbean style, like beach beer.
It's a very Corona-like beer. So I am in a very happy place. So
you're in a very happy place.
Well, what are you drinking?
Okay, I got a special beer. I got a special beer I'm drinking too.
You got a domestic there?
It's a domestic, but it's pretty special. So I'm drinking. This one is called Memory, and this is from a brewery I've been wanting to try a lot. That's gotten a lot of hype in Atlanta. The Halfway Crooks Brewery. Okay. And anyway, this was. It's basically a saison, which I love, farmhouse saison, kind of brewed with peaches. But this was given to me on Father's Day, not by my kids, but we went for Father's Day and we picked up food after the Atlanta United soccer match from my favorite restaurant, one I've taken you to before, Matthew, Staple House. And so
cool.
My wonderful friends at Staple House, Kara, and Ryan Smith, who own it, were like, "Hey, it's Father's Day here. We want you to take, what are you brewing these days?" And I mentioned saison. They're like, "You got to have this." So anyway, it's very Georgia kind of saison with peach. I'm very excited about it. So anyway, I'm doing my best to try to pretend like I can make up for the fact that you're in the most beautiful place in the world. You're in paradise, but either way, cheers, dude.
Cheers, man.
Cheers. That's really excellent. That is.
Yeah. You're still not smiling as big as me, so.
I can't be, but it gives me good ideas. I'm still thinking about what beer I want to brew for the football season. So
yeah,
I like the peach side of it. All right. What the hell are you doing down there?
We have 7 people here now. 5 have already started. 2 start next week. And I was down here visiting our office. Our friends at Grow Resources are a partner here, and got to tour the office yesterday. I've been down here with the founders for 3 days before that, kind of exploring the island a little bit, learning the history of the island, and then spent yesterday in the office with our crew. And we have a great crew, and very excited about having offshore resources near shore.
Yeah. So this is for it's becoming more and more popular with accounting firms, I think, and just business in general, doing offshore work, right? Stuff that's outside non-domestic team members. And we have worked with team members in the Philippines. We have one in Greece too. We have Jessica in Greece for about a couple of years now. and we've had a good opportunity, right? And someone said, hey, have you ever looked at the Caribbean somewhere a little closer? And so this was our first foray in trying that. And it certainly seems interesting to this point. And while it's early, we're seeing some great team members coming on the Acuity team, which we're very excited to have. Do you think this is I felt like when this first started and people were doing the outsourcing, it kind of was like people were kind of trying to do it on the down low. I mean, do you agree with that? Like, it was kind of like, oh yeah, we have people overseas, but...
Well, I think that's, I mean, there's a stigma sometimes with sending jobs overseas that started with, this inherent conflict. So I think that's part of it. COVID though, if you're not remote and able to move wherever, I don't know how people are going to survive. So I think less and less there'll be an issue. But especially places like this where English is not English is the primary language. That's usually where we see like a lot of stigma come, is if people can't speak English or can't speak understandable English in the United States or whatever people want to say.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, I think I'm seeing that change, and I think one more an example of something that's accelerated from a change perspective during COVID is that more and more people are adopting, work and team members who are from overseas. I know we took an approach right away which is not unusual for how weird and funky we are at Acuity, of like, well, let's lean into it and be very open about the fact that we've got team members. I mean, for us, it's always been kind of really fun and interesting. Like, oh, we have team members from different parts of the world who have different customs and things. And so I know for us, it's been, I think it's been really interesting in having team members from all over the place. And it does feel like that tide is starting to turn to where it's not just sending off like, well, let's just kind of just for purposes of low cost labor, or like jobs that people in North America don't want to do. Like, there's some really excellent team members. I think it's a benefit. It feels like the world gets a little smaller, right? To where who in their right mind would have thought, like, if we were thinking about this when we were getting going 7-8 years ago, or certainly beyond that, like, we'd ever have international team members as a small business. And I think it's something that's more firms are open to these days, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, and I think it's more accessible for people. I think people have figured it out a little bit. Obviously, you have folks like the Grow guys that are, they've done all the research. My friends who had started Grow, they had a business. They have a business in the States, and they had, I think, 30 people in the Philippines for years and years and years. I want to say it's like 15 years or something like that. Yeah. So they've been, Kim and Carl are the ones that introduced us to this. They did this extensive research on, with kind of 5 main criteria. We're going over it this weekend, of kind of things that had to be in place in the Caribbean countries before they thought that they could move some of their Philippine resources, or what they typically outsource to Philippines, to here. So it was a very thoughtful process that they went through. We were just kind of beneficiaries of that, kind of lucky to stumble across them. And I like it because the logic made a lot of sense to me. So I just feel real fortunate to be able to come and visit our team members. We haven't been able to go to visit our team members in the Philippines, in Clark or Manila. And a lot of that's due to COVID, but the other part is a 16-hour flight. That's just that's a tough 2-day turnaround here with a 4-hour flight. So it's not that bad.
It's not bad at all. It's not that bad at all. How would you, so for folks who've never been to St. Lucia, what could you compare it to? Is it similar to other experiences you've had in the Caribbean?
I guess I have. It's similar to Cayman. To me, it's similar but different. I think each of the islands has their own character, right? I've been to Cayman most recently because of its kind of kindness towards crypto companies. But I think everything's a little quirky. It's a lot larger than you think of in the island. Like the initial shock for me was a 90-minute taxi ride after landing on the plane, on an island with only a couple 100,000 people. You're like, oh, how can you even drive 90 minutes? But it's a rather big island. So I've learned about the culture. My wife has written a book about the culture, and I'm about halfway through it now, about some of the history. I'm learning about kind of how it progressed from a sugar, producing sugar or just producing bananas, and to some of the other tourism and some of the other things that are going on now. But it's just a neat place. But yeah, it does have a very Caribbean feel. So if you've been to a Caribbean country, it's a similar, but it has its unique places there.
That's not going to treat anybody wrong. You don't hear about people going, well, Caribbean's not my favorite place. I mean, I just think it's a wonderful place. You talk about, I can literally visibly see you more relaxed there. Like, right. I mean, it has I'm not sure of many other places in the world that can kind of do that. One to you in particular, but like to most people, you just kind of get out there and it's like blood pressure drops and pace slows down a little bit. So,
well, there's even mountains here, so you might even like it. I know
that's my
like
favorite. That is my favorite. That's why I've always had like places like New Zealand on the bucket list, but of course it's so far away. Like I just love that look of mountains kind of coming down to the ocean. We've been big fans of Jamaica. Our family's been to Jamaica quite a few times, and there are a number of the Caribbean countries that do have.
That's what the beer's named. That's what the beer's named after, is the two mountains.
Oh, really? Okay. Mm-hmm. Very, very nice. What else would you say? Okay, so you mentioned, obviously tourism is probably number one there. What else is kind of, do you notice there? Is there still, I guess there's probably not still a lot of sugar production, but are there bananas, tropical fruits?
I think there are some bananas. It's really interesting, the book that I'm reading about. Like I said, about halfway through, so I'm about to 1974 or something in the book. So it was interesting because they were talking about the bananas economy was really helpful because it kept a lot of the income here, whereas tourism, kind of sandals and all these resorts kind of take money off the island as opposed to re-injected into the island. So it'll be interesting, but there's lots of construction here. There's lots of building. The first lady is the one that attracted our kind of our colleagues from Grow here, and they have a really progressive government trying to incent businesses to move here to help people out and get the economy going in ways other than tourism. And I see that in the folks here. There's probably about 40 people it looked like at Grow right now. So they've just started that in the last year or two here. Already 40 employees, going strong. So it's pretty interesting, pretty compelling.
So this is obviously a little bit of our commercial to other firms of saying, if you're nervous, concerned about working with team members who are not in the States, one, just sit there and stare at Matthew while he sips on that beer. That's going to be the best thing I can tell you to do to get over it. I guess, what are some other things you would say to people who are kind of like on the fence about it or kind of concerned? Like, what recommendations would you have to make it either work better, to overcome some of those fears, or
don't do it. It's scary. Don't do it. You shouldn't try to hire any accountants in St. Lucia. Don't call Grow Resources. Please don't compete with us for resources here.
Just stay away. It's dicey.
It has rained several days that I was here, and the air conditioning in some of the condos is subpar, and you have to open for the ocean breeze. And
do you occasionally get like sand between your toes and things like that? And that's going to be annoying.
The sand is terrible at the beach. It's what I would consider an infestation.
So much sand. So what about, are you having to put on actually put on sunscreen and stuff?
The continual sunscreen application. So I would really discourage people from offshoring any resources in the Caribbean.
And the local beer doesn't seem like it's very good either. I'm sure those aren't going down. Yeah, that one's already seemed to have evaporated rather quickly in your hand. So
it's deceptively small. Like it's like a This is an 8-ounce bottle.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. And apparently your math skills have degraded while you've been there. Your skills of perception.
I was trying to do the liter, conversion and stuff.
Threw you off a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Milliliters, ounces. It's throwing me off, man.
Yeah. Okay. You and I haven't talked about this. I mean, are there other places when you think about offshoring that we've kind of heard? I mean, I think the traditional ones, right? Philippines, we mentioned, we have team members there. And I'm speaking more specifically around accounting services. India was probably the front runner in that. I think India has some large centers there. Outside of those two, and now I guess we're kind of saying St. Lucia is a little bit, people probably aren't aware. Are there others? Yeah, no one needs to look at it at all. But
nobody needs to look at St. Lucia.
Are there other spots that we came across, that were popping out to you? I know some developer teams and things like that in parts of Eastern Europe, things more around software, but I'm trying to think of any other financial services.
No, I mean, obviously with the crypto guys, we worked a lot with folks in the Ukraine and some of those countries on the coding side, but it's really India and the Philippines on the accounting side we see pop up over and over, with the default in India, much more focused on the US, Philippines, much more focused on Australia, it feels like, or at least through the influences that we've seen. Maybe that's because of our partnership with TOA, but it's interesting. Each of these pockets.
So could this be analogous as maybe the Caribbean, the US version of the Philippines to Australia? Is that maybe?
No, I don't. I mean, the numbers just aren't there, right? So when you look at the population of the Philippines, like you could Google it, I'll say it wrong, but I mean, the population of St. Lucia is like 150,000 people. And the population of the Philippines, if you Google it, it's something stupid, right? It's millions and millions.
108 million.
So 108 million people in the Philippines, 150,000 people here. Obviously,
but the Caribbean is 44 million. So if you kind of encompass the whole Caribbean, I guess there's a little less than half the size. But that said, the U.S. market and North American market's a lot larger than Australians. But interesting. Okay.
So, but I mean, like I said, we're spoiled in Atlanta, direct flights everywhere. But we have a direct flight here, 4 hours, literally 4 hours was what the flight time was, I think.
Faster than getting to the West Coast for us.
It was faster than getting to San Fran for us, so, and the same time zone. That's one of the issues with the Philippines, right? You're making people shift there, for work-life balance, they're having to work at night if you're working the same hours. So you got to think about all that stuff, right? For sustainability and for quality of life for your people and stuff like that. So, thought about that, whether we let, the folks in the Philippines and the accounting group work the shift hour, right? Work the daytime hour, right? We've talked about that. To attract better, track people, also make it more sustainable for their lives. And, it's just lots of different questions when you're closer.
Lots of fun questions to ponder with a nice cold drink in your hand and your toes in the sand. And not bad. Not bad. Any other last thoughts we should think about from what you learned in St. Lucia? Something off.
Anything else I've learned in St. Lucia? The beach is definitely my happy place. I know the mountains is yours, so I will sacrifice and come here more than you have to, so you don't have to. I will continue to do that. Oh, well, one of the other things, we have had more people volunteer to train people in St. Lucia than ever anybody has ever. I don't think anybody's volunteered to get on a 16-hour flight to go to the Philippines to train.
Every Acuity team member has been like, "Oh, St. Lucia, how do I get involved and go meet our new colleagues?" And so, we'll see about that. The one that we teased out there was a little, it was a future Acuity Con down in St. Lucia. So,
we need to work on that. I think
we may need to work on that. save for
we
that.
might
So
we might have to focus more on profitability metrics.
we might have to as well too. Hey,
To be
everybody,
able to
we might,
afford that.
that's almost like getting to the level of like, the Expensicon, levels.
Yeah.
We're going to have to
Yeah.
figure out either,
We don't quite have the software margins by design.
nor the venture capital backing, to do all that. So,
but that's cool.
anyway, well, I'm
I don't know
envious.
if
I'm jealous.
Is Piton beer going to be on Untapped? That's what
We're
I
going
want
to
to
find
know.
out. Let me do mine. I've got mine pulled up here first. Let's do mine, and then I'm going to have you help me with yours.
Okay. It's a Heineken brand because Heineken, the world is getting smaller. All these microbrews are getting bought up. I found out Heineken bought this, which made it less less exciting for me.
I want to remind everyone not to forget to follow Drink While You Think, DWYT, Drink While You Think on Untapped. Come join us, follow us, friend us there. Here's what I'm drinking, the Memory Halfway Crooks beer. I think it's outstanding. This is going to get a 4.5 for me, which is really pretty high. It's a great saison, and the cool kind of, the peaches are like perfect, not overpowering. It just is awesome. I love this style.
Yeah.
Super unique. And it gets me, it does make me think a little bit about like, I wonder if maybe I should brew something like this for tailgates, but we'll see. So how do you spell it again, Matthew? Yours?
Piton.
Piton. Look at that. Heineken St. Lucia Limited. There it is. Hold on. It's pulling up. Boom.
Oh, it's way better than that. It is a 5-star beer today.
It's getting all 5 of the stars.
It got all 5 of the stars because, I mean, it's kind of my dad's theory with, Corona. Like, if you're here, like, this is the all day beer. Like, this is what it is. It's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's cheaper than water at the restaurants. It's cheaper than water. Okay. It's an all day drinking beer, and you're on vacation. Like, how do you rate that below 5 stars?
All I know is I feel like I'm booking a flight on Delta right now to come down and check this out. Like, you're just selling me way too hard on this.
It's not bad.
I heard all day drinking beer. This is awesome. Well, this is great. We ask everybody to make sure you keep following along to these crazy adventures. The world is opening up. I'm going to tell you, we got a lot more adventures coming in July. There's a lot going on.
We might have some really big adventures coming on.
We got all kinds of things happening in the month of July. So keep watching if you want to see the life of a couple of yahoos like us and what we're doing in our firms and things like this.
Yeah, we might have some really cool guests coming up.
Yeah, we definitely might, and definitely some wild activities and places, depending on, we'll see how things play out. But feel free to follow along. We'd love to have more guests jump in, ask us questions. But I'll say, Matthew, to you, please tell all the team down there. I can't wait to meet all of them too, not just because they live in an amazing location, but I keep hearing over and over from our team in the U.S. how great those team members are down there. So I look forward to meeting them.
Oh, it was great. It was so good to have yesterday with them. It was fun. So
awesome. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.